have reached Vader and Associates, formerly the Death Star. Please hold, as all of our representatives are busy helping other callers. Your estimated wait time is between 12 and 20 parsecs. Yes, we know it's a distance, you nerd. Your call is important to us. If you are part of the Rebel Alliance, please stay on the line and be prepared with your name and precise location so we can further assist you.
Hello. Wow. It's been so long I forgot to hit unmute. All right, guys. Long time no see. I'm going to bring some people up here who are helping me with this whole endeavor here. Welcome, one and all. This is the Andor Roundtable for Season 2. Some explanations first. One, I'm not fully up and running, but the computer is, and we're back. I'm able to stream. Yeah, some craziness, but I'm very glad to be back. Glad to be able to do a roundtable, and I'm glad to have these people back with me. We're going to go around, have them introduce themselves. If you don't know who they are, you should, because they've been on lots of these things with us. But let's start right here to my side, and we're going to talk to Dandelion Fluff. Dandelion, please tell the people out there about yourself. And
Dandelion Fluff. Apparently, I'm doing a roundtable. Yay!
Yes.
Actually, I actually like this show, so I'm perfectly happy to do this roundtable. As usual, I have no YouTube channel, and I'm just here so that you have an obligatory redhead.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's important. It's
Sure.
Absolutely almost a must.
I've been told that, so.
It is. It's like one of those things. So, and next, we're going to go down below you, and that's a Shifty Gizm. Shifty, please. And again, you did this last time we did Andor, and you had the damn Grogu with Andor. It's like, it doesn't work. It's not the same time period.
Mandor. Mandor.
Oh my god! I know you said this last time. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah. Well.
All right.
I know it is the same. Grogu was alive during the Andor because he was.
Of course, he's a Yodian or whatever the hell species, which we'll never find out. He's a Yodidian or whatever, and they last for like 5 million years.
You could do the crossover. 100. It could happen. Yeah, 2 years later, 2 years later, I'm still Shifty.
Okay, very good. And last, but certainly not least, the person I bring in here, sometimes for a dissenting view, we might get something different this time. I don't know. He may love this show now all of a sudden. I'm not going to bet on that, but the viewpoints that I love to have always on this show are from Austinator. Austinator, please tell everybody about yourself.
My God, it's like I never left. Hello, everybody. I'm the Austinator. You can find me you can find me on my channel. I do a wrestling show on Friday. Check that out. I do a movie review show occasionally on my channel when that happens. You can also find me on the Hangout on Wednesdays and Storms Nation on Sundays. And on the next couple Sundays, you'll find me on the Andor Roundtable on the Real Review 3000 and Chaos Central. Wow, I can't believe I
No,
said that.
just Chaos Central. It's not on
Just
Real
Chaos
Review
Central. You
3000.
messed up.
just
You
Chaos
messed
Central?
up.
It's okay. I thought it
yes.
should be on both as well, so I'm with you. I
But I
told
don't do
someone
that.
to go watch it on there, and I had to call
Crushing.
them and tell them to watch it somewhere else.
Blame it on me. Blame it on me.
Okay, your fault, Chris.
That was a massive L on your part, Chris.
Giant
I
fail,
know,
dude.
I know.
Giant fail.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, damn, right. Yeah.
Boomer.
Anyway, Boomer. Hey, listen, that opening could have been much, much, much worse. I'm going to tell you, Boomer, you're going to
Did
tell
you guys-
me, Boomer. Look,
now,
it still works. It still works.
Oh, wow.
The
Now
power
it's-
is mine.
Oh,
now it's
She's-
like
she's
we really never left.
she was Sarlacc pitted.
Did you like the hold music though? The Empire hold music?
That was lovely. Everybody thank Dandelion for that. She showed me
found
that
it.
video. It was very,
Thank you.
very, very
Yes,
funny.
that was-
So go follow that Jim Lab dude on Instagram because he's pretty funny. He does lots of interesting
Absolutely.
visual takes.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So how we're going to do this is a little different than we do most of our roundtables. Most of them are episode by episode. This is actually being released in 3 episodes at a time. They're calling them chapters. At least everything online calls it a chapter. So I'm going with that. So what we're going to do is instead of talking about each individual episode, we're going to talk about the chapter, the 3 different episodes, all as one. We'll go over our likes, our dislikes, and then we'll talk about our grades and all that. But before that, we always start with our overall thoughts. So just generic thoughts that we had on these 3 episodes, the chapter. And we'll start with Dandelion. Ladies first.
Sure. So my overall thought is if I had to have a thought about the whole thing, I can't decide if Cassian Andor is the luckiest dude in the galaxy or the most unlucky dude in the galaxy. Because every single plan that dude gets into ends up in the absolute tank. And but he always, seems to have the resources to get himself out of the shit that he always lands up in. So that's my overall thought. I can't decide if he's super lucky or super unlucky. Maybe both. That's my overall. But overall,
Okay.
I did enjoy the show so far.
Very good. All right. So let's talk about this with Shifty. What do you think?
Well, I was probably the biggest champion within our community of Andor since it came on. I'm a huge fan. Love first
Next
season.
to
Love
me.
it. No, I annoyed people to death.
Don't even start.
Let's not argue that. Let's talk, Chris.
Me and Anzo went to war over the quality of Andor, and actually we're starting another one up here on Twitter tonight probably. But I loved it. But although I kind of thought that this was probably the weakest arc of this series so far. It did get better on the second watch. I watched it over today, so it did improve on the second watch once I know what was going on. I think the problem for me is my 2 favorite characters, Dedra and Cyril, kind of took the back seat in this chapter, and they low-key carried the series for me last time. I really like those characters. And plus, they kind of scaled back on the Imperials monologues, which I think added a lot to the show last time around. I mean, I love that meaty dialogue that they were given with the Imperials. So that was, kind of set things off for me. And also, before I move it on, did you hear that Gilroy said that we aren't going to find out who or where Cassian's sister is or what happened to her, because he wanted to keep that open because it drives his interest to always go back and find people and be the savior. He said he's going to leave it open-ended.
That doesn't make me sad though, because we know he dies in 5 years. So
well, okay. So quick sidebar: does that bother you? Yes, no. Anyone? No.
Not really.
Not really.
Okay. Austinator.
I had forgotten about that part.
That's perfect.
I do.
Huh?
What do you think? Does that bother you that we may not find out about his sister or where his sister's at?
I don't care anymore. My expectations with this stuff is just finally it's sunk to the bottom. Nothing can shock me anymore.
Yes, he's still
I
himself.
I said it last time. I do think the perfect ending for season 1 would have been if they hadn't mentioned that Cassian had dated Bix. I think a great ending would have been if it was revealed that all the people in the town, or especially his close group of friends, were actually those that he had rescued or found and brought back to town. And they of course it didn't go that way. But
okay. Anyways, Ostinator, overall thoughts.
Well, you want to hear my overall thoughts, huh?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to preface this by saying, look, I'm going to be honest. I swore off Star Wars for, I don't know what the straw that was that broke the camel's back with me, but I was like, man, I'm done with Star Wars. Like, I didn't watch Bad Batch Season 3. I didn't watch Acolyte. Yeah. I didn't watch whatever Skeleton Crew was. I just didn't care. I swore off a lot of the Disney Plus stuff entirely besides for X-Men 97. And the only reason why I broke my rule is because I wanted to do the roundtable because Chris Knight, the Real Review 3000, is coming back. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch it. And then my mistake was binging all 3 episodes this morning.
Join the crew.
I did it too. I didn't have time until this morning.
It took the time to watch through twice.
I watched it through twice too, though. That's the thing.
Oh, I did not.
I was boom, 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 boom. I kept going. It's like,
nah.
And oh my god, after watching these 3 episodes back to back to back, I finally realized why I do not like Star Wars anymore is because of episodes like this.
Oh, really?
Oh my god. I'll be real. It really wasn't that bad. But it's really hard to be excited about this stuff anymore when you just don't care. And my God, I just could not care. And the fact that after every episode, I kept seeing the same Monopoly Go commercial because I had the Disney Plus with commercials on, that made me even more upset than I already was. So, yeah.
Wow.
I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I'll talk about what I like, what I didn't like, but just overall, it was, I guess it was there. Like, it's not the most offensive. It's not the most offensive thing ever, but I don't know. I'm just like, nah. It was.
So these episodes didn't leave you rave dancing at the end of it, did it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that when it was over because I was like, thank God I can move on.
You didn't join into the wedding dance?
Yeah.
No, I refused.
Anyone else? Anyone?
I might have got a little, might have got a little into it.
I enjoyed it.
I've
heard it all weekend long. That's where I was at all weekend long. Was listening to that music.
I felt about as confused as Mon Mothma at that point.
Okay. Well, yeah. We'll get to that. Okay, so
yes, we will.
My overall thoughts are: it took me a second because of how they popped in on episode 1, the way they did it, because it didn't feel quite like it was right at the end of season 1. Granted,
and it was not. It was a year later, and it 1 year later.
I know, but what I'm saying is it didn't feel like there was a real good conjoining that 1 year.
Positive messaged you.
Yes. All right, cool. Thank you, Positive. I'll get with you for next week. But other than that, I really, really did like these episodes. I thought they were done well. There were ups and downs, of course, but I think overall the story arc, the movement, all that was done really well. So from there, let's talk about our likes. Now, because I know this could take the longest of all of us, I'm going to start down there below me. Ostinator, please tell everybody the things you liked about.
Oh yes, I have a huge notepad of things that I like.
Take your time. Take your time. Go ahead and take as much time as you need to give us all of your positives.
Let's see. Let me pull out my huge notepad here. I mean, I will say this, and this is just the show itself looks good. I think that is probably the one big thing I will give it is, the one thing I will usually never complain about unless it's really noticeable is like visuals and the overall cinematography and just in general the way that the show just looks. And it looked great. Like I will not question that. Visually, like, and even like some of the action scenes, like the action scene in the first episode of season 2, it looked cool. It looked good. I was like, okay, this is somewhat interesting. It's also one of those things too where it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh, I remember this from the show because I haven't seen Andor since it first came out, so it's like I'm just like I'm very lost. But I mean, the acting, I guess, was pretty good. There was maybe a couple interesting things that maybe could have worked, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but these, I'll talk about my negatives, but I guess like the Mon Mothma stuff was interesting, somewhat. I mean, not the wedding itself, because that was really the backdrop, and I got an issue with that as a whole. But just, I think like the stuff that was cut where she's like talking with whoever the guy was and seeing Luthen there, like that was somewhat interesting. But there wasn't a whole lot for me to sink my teeth into, which I'll talk about.
Okay. All right, Shifty, go ahead.
Okay, well, let's see. I do have a whole big notebook full of notes. So,
Shifty. Good job.
He always does this.
No, that's good. I meant to take notes, but then I forgot to take notes, and then it was too late. So.
Like a trap, right here.
Oh,
yeah. Everything gets in, nothing gets out.
Probably.
Okay.
Go ahead, Shifty.
First up, that interceptor heist scene was so cool. I mean, yeah. The action kind of dialed back as soon as that was over with until the end, really. But that was great. That was great. I just love that Disney Star Wars has put so much effort into really showing off the TIE fighters, the insides and outs, and how they're flown around and stuff. I mean, screw that Patty Jenkins movie that she was going to make about the X-Wing pilots. I want a TIE fighter pilot movie. Those are cool. Let's see. The Rebel Moon nod I thought was kind of neat. They actually took a shot from the trailer where Bix turns around, looks up at the ships coming down, and there's a blonde in the background. It's straight up lifted from the trailer of Rebel Moon. I guess they wanted to show some love for that for some reason. Clea realizing the veil like gals, that little moment that was kind of funny. The perfectly framed shots and the theme music, it's so good. The production's so good on this show, just as good as the writing. The theme music every time that music comes up as soon as you get into the episode is great. In the shop, when Clea got back to the shop, I swear to God, that was a Plo Klum or whoever that Jedi was. They got blown up in episode 3. That was one of the masks from his race sitting there, dead center on the screen. Dedra, when she was practicing smiling for the dinner with Cyril's mom, that was pretty funny because the only time that she's ever smiled in this series was when she was torturing Bix. So she's an evil character, but the dinner scene. The dinner scene was great. I love Cyril's mom. I love Cyril. I could watch a whole half hour of just Cyril eating cereal with his mom. We talked about that last season. What?
I disagree completely with that, but go ahead.
Oh, come on. Let's see. The confirmation to the speculation about Naboo that we was going to go back to Naboo. From the production shots, that first production shot, they showed Theed in the background where they had shot Theed for episode 1. We got confirmation that they may be going back because that dude Luthen talked to at the wedding, he mentioned he was from Naboo, but he was also part Gorman, which they're going to work into the plot because that's where they're going to go mine the stuff. So something's going to happen there. That's cool. Also, for a reason, because that kind of works into a theory I've been working on for 2 years, and you're going to love it. It's a big one. And the ending. Oh my God, the whole TIE fighter stuff and the fields. Such a great landscape for Star Wars, for an action scene like that. So memorable. We've never really seen anything like that outside of maybe Rebels or some episodes of Clone Wars. There were some early episodes where they did some stuff on a farm. I think it was the episode 6 and 7 of the Clone Wars where George Takei had did a voice for one of the characters there. Like I said, innings were great. TIE fighters, that just a lot of good stuff in there. But still, I think it's the weakest arc of the series so far.
Okay, very good. Dandelion.
I do not have as many exciting things as Shifty. I would have to. Overall, I liked the show overall. So there was just a general appreciation for where the story's going. I loved the costumes. I mean, I know you talked about production and stuff, but I just live the costumes in this show are. I mean, I know it's a bit of an outlier to even think about, but I just all the stuff people were wearing at the wedding. Just such an interesting look, right? And you can see like little bits of things pulled from all the from our cultures and stuff, like Earth cultures, but it's sort of like adapted from a variety of different ones. I kind of like it. I always like the diversity in Star Wars stuff, like people looking different and being different, and they got skinny characters and chubby characters and all that. I know Star Wars has always done that, and I always liked that about it, and I like that they're continuing to do that despite the overall anti-woke push that there is in the world these days, that they're still kind of like holding true to that sort of diverse universe. So I'm happy to see that they're still doing that. What else was I particularly thrilled about? I can't think of anything else offhand. I didn't write enough down. I did like they had TIE fighter, like the stealing the TIE fighter, and then the just like the comedy of errors in a sense, where every time something is about to go super smoothly for Cassian, and then it just like freaking tanks every single time. It's just I guess it's sort of predictable, but it's also kind of like, ooh, how's it gonna fuck up this time? So he finally gets away after the controls on the fighter are completely like screwed up to help people not be able to steal it, right? Like that's the whole point. They like had the controls set up in a weird way so that it was hard to steal. Well, and then he manages to get away anyhow. Even that escape like through the canyon was just like bonkers, bouncing off the freaking canyon walls and shit. Like that was pretty good. I thought that was one of the better canyon chase scenes in Star Wars. I would say it definitely would be one of the top ones anyhow. And then he finally lands on this rendezvous point and finds his own ship's been like gutted, and he's stuck in a new place, captured by new people. I don't want to give too many spoilers for all the people who haven't watched it yet. But yeah, I just sort of enjoyed that sort of every time shit's about to go right. But again, he always seems to have the resources to, get himself out of whatever ridiculously tight spot he's landed in, literally this time. Anyway, as soon as Chris is done talking to whoever he's talking to, we'll hear what he likes.
You know me. I'm always multitasking. And now that I'm back.
It makes us feel like you don't really love us.
I'm listening.
You're never paying attention. You're always too busy.
But you know what makes me feel loved? What makes me feel loved is that I'm back here so you can ridicule me.
Good. You just drop the Candy Crush, dude, and pay attention to what you're doing.
I was actually texting Onzo. Speaking of which, really quick, a quick little PSA here. Onzo did our opening intro. I appreciate that very much, Onzo.
Thank you, Onzo. Excellent.
And a big reason why I'm back on this computer is because of LEG, of Free the Net
right
on and all that.
Thanks,
so if he's watching, if he sees this video, he's like, you never even say anything. I said, I tell people all the time that you help me out a lot, and he's in the description. He's always in the description.
If we say pickles, will he join us?
I don't know.
Probably not.
Hey, about the diversity that he was talking about a while ago. Another thing is I love all the accents, because you got Scottish people, you got British people, you got like African people, you got all sorts of just different accents in there, and I think it's cool too. Also, the planet they landed on, I forgot to mention, the planet that he was going to drop the TIE fighter off on. That was Yavin 4.
Yes,
that's cool.
Yeah. Now,
I recognized it when he took off again. Like, hey, I recognize that. That's familiar.
So they did say before this season came out that was going to be a big portion. Like, they were going to kind of tie in where Yavin comes in. That's one thing I will say right now about this whole show, Rogue One, all that, is that it does a very good job of pulling the prequels closer to the original trilogy. So we get this really nice tight mix from a different perspective, and that's kind of funny.
Seconds, Chris. Hi, John. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being
he's
here.
listening, so I wasn't sure if I typed something in the chat. Go ahead.
Yes. But the one thing I have to say about that is that it's really neat to see that from, as the books that they've made for Star Wars, from a different point of view. We're getting this, and that's one thing I always liked about Andor, about this show, about Rogue One, is that we're a part of a Star Wars universe we all know really well, the Skywalker saga stuff. But at the same time, this is removed from it, and I like that world building that this does. Things are familiar, but this is stuff that happens. While we're talking here, somebody else is in a certain conversation somewhere else in the world, and it's happening there. And it has nothing to do with the things we do together, our streams or anything like that. So it's a real world aesthetic to this show. You don't hear about Star Wars, or you don't hear about Luke, or you didn't hear about Darth Vader. You hear about the Emperor occasionally. You do see people here and there that bring you back to that whole main story, but it's not necessary. So it's just nice to see. I love the way that this show does that. The TIE fighter scene, pretty damn cool. I liked it. I liked the fact that he kept the TIE fighter for the whole time. That was the TIE fighter is kind of like this little prop piece, this own character of this chapter. We'll see if it continues going after this, but it's really interesting. I have a negative that I'm going to use when we get to negatives, but I'm going to give this as a positive. I like the fact at the end, near the end, he says, "You sent me to take a ship, and this isn't the ship." Like, so what we find out here is this is a very, very new and experimental ship. He was sent there to steal it, but it's not the ship they expected, because he doesn't know how to fly this one. So it does explain a lot, but near the end of all this, because he says this.
I didn't quite catch it that way, but sure.
Well, but he does say, he's like, this isn't the this was not the ship that. He's like, I don't. Well,
it wasn't what I expected.
Exactly.
It wasn't what I was led to believe, but I think it was the ship he was sent to steal.
Well, it might be. It might be. But
layers of. Yeah.
But the thing is it seems like they don't understand completely what it is they have, and they don't.
Chris,
go ahead.
Actually, I think I can't remember, but I read on Twitter that they had this TIE fighter on one of the cartoons. It was some episode where they said they had a experimental TIE fighter, and supposedly this might be the same one.
And that's fine. I'm not arguing if it's experimental.
I know. No, I'm just saying. Yeah.
No. But I like that about this. It's like we find out why he has the trouble he has. He was walking in expecting something. So when he walks in and there's no seat, there's no controls, he's like, wait a minute, I don't have any clue. And he starts pressing buttons that he thinks he recognizes. And it turns out to be things that it isn't. And so I like the fact that they did give us an explanation originally. I didn't hate all of the Chandelium stuff with the wedding and stuff. I don't know if I really expected it to take a year to get there or longer. I'm not sure. That was kind of a weird thing too. I
think the more expensive the wedding, the longer it takes to plan. And
probably.
That looks like
and also we're dealing in parsecs distance, and we're dealing with lots of different people from all over, because she's a senator. So there are things there to take into consideration.
That would take a while to put together.
Plus,
That's
she
why
was
Star.
13. So
That's why
Yeah,
Star
I think she's
Trek.
gotta get to a
That's
certain
why
age.
Star Trek has transporters. Makes things much quicker.
Well, we can't all be Star Trek.
Anyways, I really liked the as mundane as it was. I really liked the dinner scene.
it was great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
the
was pretty
dinner
funny.
scene with Farrell and what's her name, Deidre,
Deidre?
right? Yeah,
Something.
Dedra.
yeah, I really liked that. I thought that
You're-
was absolutely hilarious because what that was is that's Deidre looking at mom and saying, "Hey, you may have been in control of him before, but now I'm in control of him." It's like that, and
You're
I have
dripping,
seen
mother.
that. Yeah, I have seen that
We
in
can either work
relationships.
together or you will be gone.
Yeah,
That's
we can either work together and you get to see your son more than you have already, or I take him completely from you and he will never see you again. That's literally
that
what
scene. That scene has already sparked a meme on X. You're dripping, mother.
Yeah, but I really like that, as mundane as it was. Trying to think, I don't mind the wheat farming aspect of this. I think it's kind of cool. They have to keep track of the different groups of people that are out there right now, and I'm wondering what happened to Mon's friend, because they didn't show us. We know he's dead. We know he's going to die. It's just, how is it, and are they going to show us?
Isn't that like what we think is going to happen next, Chris? You're getting ahead of yourself.
I know, but man, that's how you should end it. Maybe
You're not doing the show in the right order, Chris.
No, I think he probably, that's the last time we're going to see him, because the same girl probably killed the family on the base because she was left behind. They took hostages on the base when they stole the money. So I don't think we're going to see that dude again.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I think
Anyways,
there'll be more to it than just that, but yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, that's still the last thing we're supposed to talk about in this show, is what we think is going to happen next.
we'll talk about that later. But
Exactly. So why are you talking about it now?
Because I'm in charge.
You think so, do you?
Let's see here. What can I throw out of this? No, just kidding.
Phantom Zone. Sorry. Go ahead. Let's talk about the things we didn't like.
Yes, go right ahead.
Oh, you don't want Shifty to go first, since aren't we?
Okay, fine.
Going first?
Shifty's used to being left out on everything.
No, Shifty should go first.
No, I'm
Shifty.
actually a part of a lot of stuff now. So I mean,
I know. I have been following your escapades. You're almost as good of a stream whore as I am, or was, or is, or.
I'm only on 2 other streams.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, dislikes. I liked that they were on Yavin 4, but I think that was probably the weakest subplot of the arc. I just didn't care for that. I did like it when they were trying to turn the TIE fighter, and they said it was going to take like 5 hours to get it all the way turned to the other ship. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think that was weak. It was neat that they named every one of those people that was on that in that group, because all the names kept on popping up on the closed caption. So they took effort in naming each one of those characters. I hate that they kept cutting the big Imperial meeting in the first episode. They just kept cutting back and forth between there and Yavin. I think they may have done that to keep people from falling asleep, because I know a lot of complaints last season was the long, drawn out dialogue of the Imperials in the boardroom. But I like that stuff personally, and I thought that was lame. Cutting back and forth.
I was just going to say I agree with you on that. I like that. I liked the exposition in it. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Yeah. I thought the Rave was a bit silly. It's just a bit silly. I mean, it was okay until Mon started just drinking and just got getting into it. She's a good dancer though, but it was a little too much. I think. Huh?
She's a very free dancer.
She was grateful. I thought, yeah, I dug it. But yeah, I think the worst part of this episode is the discourse from some usual suspect fans over a certain scene that you guys may want to touch on, but I'm not personally. But I don't think I think they're making a mountain out of a molehill, because if you go back and look at how Lucas and other people treated women in other stories in Star Wars, this wasn't even remotely comparative, because Shmi, what happened to Shmi, what happened to Leia and Ahsoka, they were all sold as sex slaves. And Shmi got really messed up. So you just think about what happened there compared to what happened to Bix. It's not really remotely comparative. And plus, this isn't a show for kids. So people are just going crazy over really nothing. I mean, this is a adult-focused war centered show, and you're going to have themes like that. This is World War II told from the lens of it's Star Wars. So I mean, get over it. We know you hate Star Wars now. Just get it's not for you. Just shut up.
Occupying armies do that sort of shit.
Yeah.
Especially if they think somebody's like vulnerable, right? Like because she was like an undocumented migrant, as it were, in this place, that she would shut up and put up or put out, because that would protect not just her, but also all of her friends who are also undocumented, and of course that's obviously what he's like, what the dude was depending on was her that she would be willing to do that, right? So it would only be kind of the R word, not because it would be like a patina of consent, which they're obviously
it's a difficult subject,
because she whacked him over the head, as she should have, right?
But they keep on making arguments that Star Wars is for kids, and like I said, this is adult centered. But even still, movies back in the 80s, like Back to the Future, it's supposedly for kids, but there's a scene towards the end, and we just laugh it off because it's a comedy, haha. But when we have something that's actually geared towards adults, they're up in arms about it. So,
and she successfully fought off her attacker. So in a sense that, tells kids that, the R word is bad. And, you might get your head busted in if you got it with the wrong woman or man.
One last thing. You got to wonder how many kids actually have thought or actually had their parents talk to them about the things in Star Wars, like what happened to Shmi, what happened when she was tied up by the Tuscans, what happened to her there, what happened to Leia when she's in the bikini, why was she in the bikini, what's going on there, or when they watched the Clone Wars, or what happened with Ahsoka when she was a teenager and she was sold as a slave. They probably never had those discussions.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to add to your dislike pile?
No, that's it. I would say
this, and I find this in a lot of Star Wars fans. And again, I don't care if you like Star Wars, if you like just the prequels and the original trilogy, and you don't like anything else, fine. You know what? Everybody's allowed to like what they don't want or like. But the fact is, I think a lot of people spend too much time emphasizing things they've heard George Lucas say. One. He has said it was for kids, but then you do, like you said, Shifty, you have to question, was it always for kids? Because there are things nobody questions anymore because they wrote it out. The fact that Luke kisses his own sister and things like that. And maybe it's because, like he says, and maybe he's changed his tune on this, but he did not have this whole thing written out at the beginning. People seem to think he did. He did not. No. And
which is pretty obvious from the fact that Luke and Leia kiss in the first movie or the second movie.
That's the thing. And then what's worse is if you go online, you watch the full scene, they do it like twice. It's kind of crazy. And they said it's a good thing we cut that part of it out, because then it would have been even harder to write that. But anyways, so I get what you're saying about it, but too many people hinge on the fact that It's a kids thing. But remember, Rambo had a cartoon. Rambo had toys. So it's not the first time in the world you have an adult side of something and a kid's side of something. So that's the key there, is that some things are for kids, some things are not. This is a very much more adult-driven, I hate using this word, but it's a smarter Star Wars. And I don't mean that in any disgrace to anyone. I'm not saying you're stupid if you don't like this. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is this is much more of a cerebral and adult version of Star Wars. So anyways, with that said.
Hey, one last thing. I forgot to mention, a lot of people saying George Lucas would never do this. Well, it's documented that George, before he sold to Disney, he was working on a Star Wars Underground show, and he said that it was going to be very HBO in nature. It was going to be adult. It was going to be violent. It was going to be sexy. It was going to be things that you would see on HBO. So that might have been even more gratuitous than anything we've seen on Disney.
Maybe. But I mean, here's the thing. People who say he wouldn't have written this, people have never seen THX.
Well,
THX.
He no longer owns the franchise.
No, I know he doesn't, and that's one thing they have to remember. But he did write his first movie, his student movie that he made into a full-length movie was called THX. I forget the number. But
I don't think it was necessarily I didn't think it was that controversial to have that whole thing in there. That didn't seem that controversial to me. And it really gave, because they wanted to end the episode with Cassian coming in at just the right moment to drop down from the sky like Deus Ex Machina. And
you were waiting for that. And you were waiting for it.
Yeah.
It was not, it was written for you. I guess this is very much, that is probably big Star Wars right there. Because Star Wars was written as a serial. And in serials, you always put the characters in peril. And the question is how are they going to get out?
Yeah, exactly.
And so it is very much in the line of what George Lucas wanted. I mean, I'll just go out there and say that, except in episodic form. Okay. Austinator. I know you have a very short list, so we'll just get them out of the way right now.
Oh, yeah, I got a very, very short list. I didn't even bother to write them down. Okay, so a lot of my thoughts, at least things I didn't like, it's going to be also very difficult because I'll be honest with you, I checked out pretty much right away. Not right away, but I checked out almost halfway, maybe. I got through at least the first 2 episodes okay, but it's by the 3rd episode I just was like, oh God, I'm doing 3 episodes of this, kill me, please. So my main things that I just didn't really care for, I know there was a few main things that they touched on throughout, Andor being captured, and they had the whole wheat farming thing, the wedding, the Imperial stuff. That's all fine and good. I just felt it did start at points. It did feel like it was kind of hard to keep track of what was going on because it did feel like there was a lot going on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It does just get very, very jumbled up. I thought the whole Andor being captured thing, I thought that kind of went on a little too long. There was just things about they were screaming, they were yelling at each other from across the ways, which, okay, fine, there's a little bit of infighting there because of food and stuff, but it was just all right, come on. And then you then have the whole wedding stuff, which again, it's fine as a backdrop. But when I'm hearing lines "Oh, Mom, you wouldn't hold my hand," it's just that kind of made me check out a little bit. I know it's stupid, but just kind of I don't really care. The wheat farming thing, okay, fine. It's just there. Again, it's just there for what kind of bringing the Imperial stuff in there, sure. And then of course, my favorite character of the entire show, Crying Face Man, made a reappearance with blonde-haired woman. So that they're together, I guess, and then the whole
blue milk cereal dude.
Yeah, the blue milk cereal crying guy is back, came back, and then the mother came back. You can tell how much I care because I don't know their names.
I don't know their names either, but I can't remember.
Cyril and Dedra.
Cyril is the cereal guy, so cereal.
Yeah.
All right, cereal and
Dedra.
Her name?
Dead is dead. She looks like she's dead, so it's Dedra or Deidre. There you go.
So we have dead person in cereal, and then the mom was there, and I just couldn't get into the dinner scene when I saw like the guy just like fucking face down on his couch defeated. That reminds me of watching. That just shows me. That's like an indicator of me watching Star Wars. It's just me lying face down on a couch, trying to figure out why am I doing
with
this?
Your perfectly coiffed hair getting slightly discombobulated?
I was very discombobulated. I swear to God. And you know what? Speaking of discombobulated, I looked down at my phone because I'm like, man, I was like, man, I really want to play Halo right now. And I'm like, all right, but I got to finish this episode. I literally looked at my phone because I'm thinking, okay, it's almost done. I literally look up and I see Mon Mothma dancing around. And I'm just like, what? What is happening? I was so confused. And again, I was just checked out. I'm like thinking, wait a minute. What? They were... I was watching the one thing and now they're dancing. Am I going insane? And then to top it all off, this isn't really a knack on the episode itself, but the fact every episode, because I have the ads on Disney Plus, I had to keep watching the same Disney Plus commercial with Keke Palmer, I think, Chris Pratt, and Jason Momoa.
Oh, Jason Momoa.
Yes, the Monopoly one.
Good God, it's so annoying. And after the 5th time you see it, you just like, please God, make it stop. And then that scene that Shifty alluded to, the grand scheme, it's one of those things where I feel like, how do I word this in a way where I feel like a lot of these channels who talk about Star Wars and hate on Star Wars, they like to grasp at straws, and they like to just, no matter what you do, or no matter what they do, they're always going to find something to not like about it. Now, I do find the scene itself, was it needed? No, I don't think so. But if you look at the full context of the scene and like what happens, is it that bad? No. Was it really needed? No. I also especially didn't really like the whole like, because I do think they do kind of beat you over the head with it a little bit throughout the episodes where they allude to it and then they do it. It's like, okay, like it's a little too much, but again, on the grand scheme of things, it was just like, okay, you know, for the outcome, I get what they were going for, and does it work? Sure. Was I a fan of it? No. Like I don't know. It just, again, over the course of these episodes, I just kept getting checked out more and more, mainly because, and the thing is, I kind of knew going into it, my heart wasn't into seeing it, but I was like, all right, maybe there'll be something, because apparently people really liked it. Apparently critics who saw the whole season were like, wow, this is the best Star Wars thing ever. And I'm like, all right, I'm waiting for it. I know it's the first 3 episodes, but I'm just like, man, I am not convinced.
I'm hoping they come back to those people all trapped on that planet, because otherwise there was no point in doing that at all. If that was all we see those people, then why did we see them at all?
It's Yavin 4. We're gonna get back there. Yes, I kind of agree with what you said, but I got a question for you, Austinator.
Sure.
It could be, no matter what critics say, and we say this all the time with movies and stuff, critics love certain things, and when other people watch it, they're like, oh my God, how in the world did this get this rating from these critics? It could just be it's not what you want to see, or it's not what you like, and they love it. But I mean, I hope you do come around to liking it. I understand if you don't, but I hope you do.
Oh, sure. You know, critics are like that all the time. Like, there's a lot of movies they like that I'm just like, what the fuck are they talking about? What kind of cockamamie bullshit are they trying to spout here? Like, but again, like, I tend to not listen to what critics say. I don't really look at the critic scores, because it's like, I don't care. Like, it's more because realistically, I'm not a sheep. I'm not sheeple where like a critic says, oh my God, this movie, it's like these MCU people where it's like, oh my God, this movie got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes and made $1 billion, which means it's a great movie, guys. You gotta like the movie. No, I'm not like that.
I need you to talk like that on a whole stream.
No, we don't.
No, I don't know if my voice could handle it.
Don't listen to Chris Austinator. That's a terrible idea.
Who listens?
Why don't you talk like that, Chris? If somebody has to talk like that.
Well,
No, don't you do it either. Nope. I'll just leave. I won't come back.
No. We can't have that. You're the reason why everybody watches.
Fine. It's not that exciting.
You're the reason why everybody watches.
No, I don't think that's true. But anyway.
All right, go ahead, Austinator. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish up.
No. I think it just, at the end of the day, I feel like Star Wars has like kicked me in the face so many times that just like it's hard for me to care when it's like I don't have that high expectation anyway. And I'm not like these big YouTubers. Like I'm not gonna spend every waking moment trashing Star Wars because it's the only thing I can do. I'm not gonna turn around and be like, oh my god, like I'm gonna go on Twitter and be like 24/7, go, oh my god, I fucking hate Star Wars. Star Wars has ruined my life. No, I moved on because it's unfortunately I guess you can just say, I guess maybe the way I want to wrap this up here is just say like my heart's just not in it anymore with this franchise. They have to do something like really interesting for me to come back, but as of now, I'm just not there.
Okay.
You know what the most interesting thing I've heard that it's in the pipeline that may bring you back? Well, maybe not. Is they're going to get the writer of Poor Things to write Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie.
I hear Taika Waititi and I say pass.
Oh.
Did you ever seen Hunt for the Wilder People? Because that was amazing.
Yeah,
I have not, but I have seen Thor: Love and Thunder, and
irrelevant. Go watch
Hunt
for the Wilder People because that's amazing.
Watch a real Taika Waititi movie.
Yeah,
a real
exactly.
One, not Thor.
Or What We Do in the Shadows. That was pretty good too.
Jojo Rabbit wasn't too
Jojo Rabbit, Eagle versus Shark.
He's done some amazing stuff. He's really good.
Yeah.
Like when it comes down to it, but yes.
He also produced a really good FX series called Reservation Dogs.
Oh, did he do that one?
Yeah, he produced it. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Dandelion. Dislikes.
I only sort of two things. First of all, I didn't like that I absolutely had to have rewatched the first season because I could not follow what the fuck was going on with half the shit these three shows. Like all the like intrigue and counter intrigue and who's this character and what's that person doing there? Like I could not remember half the people because I saw the first season once. I saw it I only watched it through the one time. It was like a year ago. So I don't really remember what happened all that well. Like I remember, but not like down to specific people. I'm like, I kind of remember this. I remember the prison thing. But I really hated that I absolutely had to have watched that over again to really follow what was going on. Like I said earlier, like by the end of it, I felt like Mon Mothma dancing at that party with all the like freaking shit going on everywhere. My brain, like, I don't know who this person is and what that person's doing. And the other thing, which is a really nitpicky thing, but as a horticulture person, I questioned all the driving through the wheat. Like, obviously, when people are just trying to escape, right, they would run through the wheat. But it seemed like a lot of the roadways and stuff were actually made through the wheat, which seems really wasteful. They would have had set pathways where they would not have wasted planting in order to, right? Because like you're taking away from your own, like you're wasting grain by planting where you're planning to drive. So it just seemed like a little chaotic and unorganized and unnecessarily so, because it just seemed like that's an inefficient way to, considering the amount of grain they appear to want to like harvest, it seemed dumb that they would waste so much in planting when they would have had established pathways and roadways. But everything except for the one main road seemed to be just like they had planted and then people had, driven through the wheat afterwards, which looks super cool. But it just seemed really inefficient to me. So that kind of bothered me on a really stupid, nitpicky, because I'm a horticulture person. It It just didn't seem like very practical.
Good for style and stylistic.
Yeah,
choice,
the look of it, very cool. But yeah, the whole like it.
Anybody who knows about farming or anything, they're just not going to waste the space.
Like, well, that seems weird. Why would they? Yeah, why would they have?
I gotcha.
Like, why wouldn't they have established pathways where they wouldn't waste planting grain? Like, obviously, it's a huge production and there's a lot of wheat, so maybe it doesn't matter. But it still seemed like they wouldn't necessarily do that. So that just sort of seemed to me. But again, like I said, super nitpicky, and I'm sure not a single other person has thought of that as the thing they didn't like about it. But
I looked past it, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
I do agree with you about having to try to watch things to catch up. And I think that's a big problem with streaming. They expect you to know what's going on. Which is fine.
Remember, I should have rewatched it through, and I only ever watched it the one time. But I didn't know I was going to do this show. So
if you were a fan of Lost and watched it back when it aired, every season they would do a hour or 2 hour long recap show before the season started. They would do like multiple. They would do multiple. They would sometimes do one in the middle of the season before the finale, and would do one right at the beginning of the season. The fact that they don't do this regularly for shows that's been gone for like 2 or 3 years is stupid, and it's incredibly stupid that Dave Filoni didn't do one for Ahsoka, because you had to watch Clone Wars and Rebels and this and that and the other to even understand what was going on in Ahsoka, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think it.
So I ended up a little not confused, but like, because it was like whatever. Yeah. I sort of vaguely remember this person being in the last show, or if not, then judging from the interaction with other characters, apparently I'm supposed to know who this person is, so I just sort of let it slide. But it did sort of. Yeah. I just sort of ended up with like there's like a lot of different intrigues going on, and it was just like. But anyway. Yeah.
Anything else?
Yep, that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess that's something we've always said. I mean, but like Shifty just said, a lot of streaming platforms, Handmaid's Tale, it just came out with, or it's coming out with its like 5th season, but it's been like 2 years since its last season. A lot of streaming shows do this, probably because they know the vast majority of the people who watch it will go back and binge at least the season before, if not the whole darn thing. Some TV shows
depend on you doing that. So
exactly. And some TV shows like Yellowstone and a few others, before the new season would drop, they would do everything in one night, or throughout the week they'd show marathons of the whole season before, or they'd show, like, if they have 4 seasons, the 4 nights before the new season starts, they'll show all of the seasons those nights. But I did start rewatching Andor about 6 months ago, and I don't know, I think I was on right about where they're escaping from the prison. I do plan on finishing watching it again. I liked it enough, but most of these shows really don't grip you in the way that some of those other shows do, I guess, or something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't necessarily need to go back and rewatch it, but they should do something like what Shifty said. It's like an hour.
To go back and watch entire seasons.
But they should give you an hour-long recap or 30-minute recap.
10-minute
whatever
recap would have just to like quickly reintroduce the characters and how they fit in the previous season with the other characters, just so dumb people like me can kind of vaguely remember what happened. Like, it would just be enough to trigger my memory, right? Because I saw the show, I enjoyed the show, I remember more or less what happened. But there was a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. I forgot about
here's the thing:
part.
As the writers and as the people putting on the show, the showrunners and everything, aren't you supposed to doing something like that? Doesn't it make it advantageous for you to at least show us what you feel was the important parts for us to remember? Because that's the thing. Then you kind of show us, this is what we wanted you to remember. This is what was our focus was on. Because there's a lot of extra stuff. There's always moments in a show that don't matter. There's always that show about, the Uncle Steve visiting for the weekend or something. It makes no difference to the overall grand scheme of, I'm talking about in general on sitcoms and TV shows. I'm just saying.
I'm kidding. I know that wasn't an Uncle Steve.
I'm just saying. in general, it's just there's always those episodes that sit there and it's like, okay, this has nothing to do with the overall arc of this show. Yeah. And every show does that. Every show puts that stuff in. So it'd be nice for you to tell us what parts we should be focusing on. What was important for us to remember from season 1 so we can go in. Because I said that at the beginning of all this. I knew where we were. The year gap is a little disconcerting. How about this? Spend 10 minutes, or not 10 minutes, but spend a day on set shooting extra scenes as little blurbs of what happened between the last season and this season. They get us from there to here.
I don't want them doing that.
I don't care. I'm saying what I might want. But anyways,
there's too much of that sort of nonsense all the time on these shows, where they're just throwing away so much stuff.
This is Star Wars. How about an opening crawl?
Yeah.
No.
That would have worked.
They don't have to have.
But it would have worked. That would have worked too.
Okay.
Vaguely.
Okay.
At least I would have remembered people's names then.
But I'm not going to use that as a dislike because you guys have brought that up. What I'm going to say, and I told you earlier, I'm going to use it as a dislike, but I used it also as a like. I did not like the beginning with the TIE fighter and his inability to fly it. Later on, we learned this guy can fly almost anything. That's supposed to be his big thing. Is he's a pilot. He can jump in anything and go. Again, I like the fact that they explain this isn't what he was expecting, but still.
Well, also, nothing was labeled. Nothing was labeled, and they intentionally, I think, made the controls work in a way that's contrary to what you would expect in order to make it difficult to
maybe.
Steal.
We don't know that.
To me,
we don't know that.
Even that other woman didn't know.
But she's not a pilot that's dealt with Imperial stuff.
She didn't even have that to say.
But we don't know if she's really a pilot. She just could be somebody that's worked with the pilot that was flying their ship and only knows very little about it all, and she's just lost. Anyways, the biggest problem I have with that scene, though, how many times have we seen canyon fights in space, on land, where as soon as they hit the side, boom.
Yeah.
This thing had so many hits in everywhere. If they have these TIE fighters now, why weren't they using them in Yavin's battle and shit like that? Because no. That's not an excuse. These guys at this time have unlimited money and unlimited power. They could be pumping these things out like hotcakes.
Because Andor is the luckiest and unluckiest fucker.
I know, but my point is that I'm sitting there looking at it going like, how? This is unheard of. I really had a problem with that. Other than that,
they were only glancing blows.
No, they were not. No, they were. Have you watched the
glancing blows? He barely hit the canyon wall super hard. Just barely hit them super hard. Barely.
Indestructible. Whatever. Anyways, that I didn't have a problem with the disco house, Euro house, EDM. I did not have a problem with that, but it was like, okay, how many times would we cut back to her just dancing? I'm like, we know she's dancing, great. And why did we cut back to that?
I think that was because she was just like
out of it.
Well, no, I mean, I think she was kind of done at that point. There's so much shit going on. It looks like things are all about to fall apart again.
Maybe.
And so she was just like, fuck it.
I didn't need all that. Other than that, though, I think it's done really well. I'm excited. I like this. I watched all three episodes like really quick this morning, and I waited it, and I went back and I watched them again, and I didn't have any problem. There are lots of times when I watch these things, if I'm late to getting to it, so I can prepare for these roundtables, that any part that's just like a blank spot for 10 seconds, I hit that forward 10 seconds to get to the next part that matters. I didn't do that with this. There was very little point to do that. I enjoyed every minute of it. It's just there's some things there that I still question the point of it. I mean, I know it's kind of like a comic relief, the TIE fighter thing. It's like, oh, see, here we go. And yes, I know there's a very big part of, is he the luckiest or most unlucky person in the world?
Both. He's both the
Well,
luckiest.
I mean,
and
he
he's
is,
most
and
unlucky.
that probably explains why when they're on the beach in Rogue One, he's just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done. It's good, fine, just come on, let's go, because I've been through this way too much. I don't want to go to the next one.
I've
Anyways,
died a million times.
All right, so we're right at an hour 5 minutes. Let's do our final thoughts, our grades. That's the whole chapter, the three episodes together.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap it up. So let's start. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. Everybody, in line?
4.
Okay. Shifty?
7.
Ostinator?
2.
Well, I am going to pick Ostinator first. It was 3. So we're going to go with the Price is Right thing.
Sure.
You went over. So,
Sure.
Ostinator, final thoughts, grade, predictions, if you got any.
Sure. My final thoughts. If this was 2020 me when I started showing up on these roundtables, maybe I'd be a little bit more enthusiastic. But it's 2025. You know how you say absence makes the heart grow fonder? Well, with me in Star Wars, absence did not make the heart grow fonder. In fact, it gave me heartburn. It's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, but again, I'm just done. Like the burnout's back, and I've only watched 3 episodes of this. So realistically, realistically, I've said it in like at the start of this. I really wasn't planning on watching this until Chris was like, "Hey, you want to do a roundtable?" I was like, "Hell, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute, Chris is doing a roundtable. Oh my God, Chris is coming back. He's got some of his computer back." So it's like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it.
And you had to come back for the show that you're just not that into.
Yeah,
you're just not that into her. It's okay.
No.
I'm sure she understands.
Yeah, look, Star Wars now, it doesn't anger me because at this point, my expectations with Star Wars is just, it's already at rock bottom. So I can't be disappointed by something that's going to disappoint me anyway. I'm just going to go flat D. Because again, maybe, because I know a lot of people said they liked it. And if you liked it, that's great. I mean, I'm happy you guys are finding something to like about it. It's just, for me, it's like, again, it's been 5 years, times have changed, but I haven't changed, though, kind of. I mean, that things change, but I haven't really changed my opinions. The one thing you'll always say about me is my opinions are consistent, and I am, for the most part, very consistent. And I am always very fair to these shows, because come from the guy who hated Loki at first, but then said, you know what, season 2 Loki was actually pretty good. I'm always going to be 110% honest with everybody, and it just I mean, maybe it gets better, maybe it doesn't, but those are my final thoughts. Predictions, I don't care.
Okay. Very good. Since Dandelion, you were one above, I'm going to let you go next.
Okay. Final thoughts. I'm enjoying the show. I'm going to give it a B+. A little room for up and down in there. I do hope they pull more of these threads together. This show does tend to pull a lot of diverse threads together. You're like, how are they going to make this work with that? And then it happens, and you're like, oh, well, that made sense. But as far as predictions, that dude that just took off in that little shuttle is probably never going to be seen again. Or, maybe he'll be abandoned on a planet full of mysterious creatures, to make his own way back to Coruscant. But I don't think he's ever seen Coruscant again, which is good because he was kind of getting on my nerves. So I'm not sad to see the end of that character.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of people gunning for him, even if that hadn't been the case. I think he was like on borrowed time at this point, because he was like getting in too many people's way. Again, I really like seeing all the machinations that went in behind the people who end up being the sung heroes, all the unsung heroes of the rebellion. All the things going on behind the scenes. I kind of really dig that. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the show. even if they do destroy unnecessarily a lot of wheat.
Okay. Very good. All right. Shifty.
First watch, I wasn't into it. C+. Second watch, I'll kick it up to B minus, maybe a B. It's growing on me. I may like it even more next time I watch it. I'll probably watch it about 2 or 3 more times before things are said and done. And it's time for my usual crazy theory for Star Wars. No time travel this time, or nothing wild. Everybody says that this season will make you rethink episode 4. They said it ties the prequels to the original trilogy in a big way. I'm thinking, and this is something I've been thinking about for like 2 years because I did a kind of little digging. Whenever they first released that pic of the place where they shot Theed at in episode 1 to give us the clue that Naboo is going to be in the plot this season, I'm thinking, what better way to now they said that they were going to have like a huge cameos and stuff. Don't expect Vader, don't expect Palpatine or anything, but what if the big twist is who Luthen is? And I did a little research, and they were never used in anything canonical after one appearance. What if Luthen is actually Rui Nabari, who is Padme Amidala's father, and he had another daughter, and that could be Clea. So maybe there's a small chance, maybe that would be a good way to, the guy that lost his daughter to the Empire when it was first starting up, he starts the rebellion after her death. They were never used again in canon.
That's not too crazy, actually. I'm not saying that's where they're going to go.
It is a little crazy, but it's not too crazy.
But
it's not the craziest theory you ever come up with.
No. It's also, though, a lot of thought. And again, more often than not, we found out that these. Yeah,
they're not as clever as you, Shifty. They're not as clever.
I brought that up on a Spoiler Kings podcast, and Byron, his co-host Tank, he said, well, wouldn't he be king if when Padme died or everything? I said no, because the royalty for Naboo, it's elected upon. Their monarchs are elected upon. So he was just a regular guy after Padme left the throne. So he wasn't in the spotlight.
Right.
Okay. I don't hate it.
Did you give it a grade, Shifty?
Yeah. B minus or a B.
Okay, very good. I'm going to say that I will give it. I'll give it a B plus, and my thoughts going forward are, I do think we're gonna have to see what's his name die, because that kind of puts an end to it.
Which what's his name?
The guy helping.
Oh, the guy that got in the ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, well, and it also has to.
Ex-boyfriend.
It also, I think, is going to be Luthen's way of kind of saying to Mon, you can't get out of this. There's no out. He became a part of it, and we can't let him out. And so he was trying to give Mon the chance to rectify the situation, and then when she says we're going to meet next week, he's like, no, we can't wait there. And so he just automatically calls it.
I don't think she'll have an issue with it, though, to be honest.
I think she kind of already knows.
Yeah,
she just doesn't want to make that call. She didn't want to make the call.
Right.
But she knows what's going to happen. And here's the thing. The Mon we're seeing right now is not the one we see in episode 4 or in Rogue One. That one has obviously lost a lot of things. She is done with the hiding or the hiding it. They all know she's a part of it by that time. So we're starting to see that get broke down. I think at the end of this, husband and her are going to be split. He's going to die, something like that. Because we don't see anything about that part of her life, and there's a good chance that either
he might have just had to walk away from all that stuff.
Well, yes, that's true. But
officially
there's a good chance. There's a good chance that the daughter will disown her, or something's going to happen to the daughter too. Not sure. Again, more things you make happen to a character pushes them more in the direction of wanting to end the Empire. Whether or not her daughter dies or not, if her daughter takes the side of the Empire or something like that. I mean, anything like that. So I think something like that's going to happen. Yeah, that's basically the theories I have right now. So anyways, hey, Spoiler Kings. Even I gave it a C. Yeah, well, Austinator here is the resident dissenter, and that's why I bring him up here, because it's the need of having something like that. See, so for anybody that thinks I don't let people talk bad about these things, Austinator will tell you, I personally will let anybody talk bad about it if they want to. Oh, and sure. I know, and I
decided not to talk trash too much on shows and just enjoy them for themselves.
But the thing, like Austinator brought up, and I appreciate this from him, if he doesn't like it, he's not going to say he does. And so if he comes out in one of these chapters and says, well, I actually really, really like this, then you're going to know how much he liked it. Because I think even if he really likes something on this show, it's probably going to come back like, well, this is okay. That's where I think that's about as high as we can hope to get his level anymore, because it's going to take as many things as he has dissented on in Star Wars over the past few years now. It's going to take about that many awesome projects of Star Wars to even hopefully get him back.
Yeah, because I mean, when you're releasing garbage after garbage after garbage, eventually you're just like, geez, you might as well just. So well, the phrase of like one person's garbage is another person's treasure. I guess Star Wars is garbage to me, but it's treasure to Shifty. So you know what? I think it. I think it always ends up there, I guess.
Okay. Well,
was it better than WrestleMania?
Well, let me tell you this, Shifty.
All right, guys, I need to get going. I have to get up early tomorrow. So.
We're gonna hurry this up.
Sorry,
really quick.
We're gonna start talking about wrestling. I'm gonna have
No. He's just really quick. Austin.
WrestleMania, I think, was like 6 hours in total of garbage, whereas Andor was just 3 hours of nothing. So, I mean, okay. you pick your poison, I guess.
No, 2.5, not 3.
All right. Well, really quick, guys. Go over to Chaos Central on Twitter. Central Chaos.
Twitter.
I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to everybody.
Just saying, a lot of us don't use Twitter anymore.
Okay, fine. I really don't care. But but here, go over to Twitter, Chaos Central, at Chaos Central, or at Central Chaos is the handle on that. And do me a favor and vote in our poll. We're going to try to have one of these up at least a week. I'm going to try to get back on that too. Obviously, we see right now that 2 out of 3 people are not watching Andor. I just want to get a say, or see what you guys say and see what people say. So, with that said, guys, I really do appreciate everybody who's come up here. And
did you vote in your own poll?
No.
Are you sure you didn't vote in your own poll?
There's only 3 people on it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I might throw a vote in later, but not right now. Anyways, I want to appreciate every one of you guys coming and watching today. Those of you who did, we had up to, I think, 12 people at one time watching. I really appreciate it. I thank everybody who has streamed with me in the past. All of you on the panel, the people we'll have next week. We've got a couple of new people probably coming on. Positive Candor should be here. Elihu should be here. Dandelion, that does not mean you can dissent and go away.
All right. Let's work really long hours at this time.
I know. We're gonna try to really tighten it up. We're gonna tighten it up better than today. But I want to thank everybody who stood there and let me get through all the crap I did with my computer so I could get back to streaming and all that. So thank you, everybody. To all of my panelists today, I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
And
very
thank you,
much.
Chris, for having us. It's always fun to chat with you guys.
I love doing this.
I have missed seeing you all.
Well, there you go. So with that said, guys, everybody, thank you very much.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and never forget to ring that bell.